Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I have 5 Cricut Christmas inspiration ideas you can create on a budget. Let's get into the video. For this first DIY, I'm taking this rectangular shaped MDF board that I had in my garage. You can find signs at the Dollar Tree that are shaped just like this, but I already had this on hand, and I'm gonna paint it with my Waverly Crimson chalk paint. No, I'm not going to make you watch me paint the entire board. I had this inspiration from this Milk for Santa little milk jar that I got from Walmart. It was $2, and I wanted to create a tray to go along with it that says Cookies for Santa. And you can tell here I realized halfway through putting on my border pieces that I forgot to add in my words. So I kind of stopped and did things a little out of order, but that's okay, it turns out fine. This is the first projects that I am using my Cricut machine for. I got this for my birthday from my mom and I am in love with it. It was the best decision I ever made to ask for a Cricut for my birthday. I just love putting this thing to use. I got the Cricut Explore Air too. I'm also using the Target brand clear contact paper to add my words on. I didn't like how the Cricut transfer tape is so sticky. It was ripping my paint off of all of my projects and I was getting really frustrated. So I went out and got the Target brand one, which is a lot less sticky and didn't rip my paint off. I tried to find words or a font in the Cricut Design Studio that kind of matched what was already on that little milk jar. This doesn't look exactly the same, but I think it's close enough and looks really cute. Then we can finish up the border piece, and I just took those Jenga tumbling tower blocks from the Dollar Tree and painted those white, and I'm just gluing those down all the way around the edge. I took the corner pieces and I did those last. I just held one in there as like a guide for where I needed to put the rest of them, but I wanted to just cut them all down at once and glue them down together instead of having to keep stopping and figuring out where I needed to make a cut at. Last, I'm taking these drawer pull handles that I got from Amazon. I had these left over from a furniture flip that I did on my dressers a while back, and I thought these would be the perfect little handles for this tray. And I just hot glued these on. This is purely going to be a decorative piece, and no one was going to be actually lifting it up from those handles, so I think it's turned out fine. And how cute is this? I cannot wait to put out some cookies for Santa on Christmas Eve. My son is going to love decorating this. DIY number 2, I am making a Merry Christmas ornament sign. So I took one of these MDF ornaments from the Dollar Tree, and I'm using this scarf that I also found from the Dollar Tree. I love that it's white, black, and red because it really goes with my decor this year. So I just cut this down to size and I Mod Podged it onto the sign. At first I had done it on the front, but you could really see that green Santa and the Merry Christmas sign through the white. So I decided to just do both sides. Then I cut around the edge of the front piece, which will now be our back piece. And then I took the front pieces and just hot glued them around the edge so it would have a nice clean look. And I'm going to apologize throughout this video. I changed my setup quite a few times. I was in the process of creating a much more functional setup for myself, so you will see that throughout this. And next I'm taking this fall sign that I had that said Home Sweet Home on it, and I'm just using one of the larger pieces. I painted it white, and then I'm using my antiquing wax to go over that. I just love the way this looks when it's over top of white paint. I think it gives such a nice green effect. I do end up only using the larger piece here. I don't use the smaller one at all. So now I wanted to show a little clip of my brand new Cricut cutting out my words, and this time we are spelling Merry Christmas in the skinny font, which I got from dafont.com. So in this one I am using the Cricut transfer tape, and you will see how it's just peeling up all around my letters, that paint. And I was very upset by this. I was able to go in and touch it up and fix it, and you really can't tell, but it was just a little frustrating that it was so sticky and just lifting up all of the work that I had just done. And then I'm just going to hot glue this right on to the lower portion of my bulb ornament sign. To give it a little more character, I added in some jingle bells that were red and silver and added those onto some jute twine to hang down from the top little galvanized part of the sign. And I apologize, this is very out of frame. You can't really see what I'm doing here, but I'm just taking my jute cord and tying a knot onto those bells and letting them hang from the top little topper. And then I just glue the topper right back down over top. And I didn't show this part, but I did end up tying some of the jute twine around the top and creating a little bow because I thought it looked a little funny. And how cute does this little sign look? That added jute twine at the top really helped pull it all together, or else it looked like the bells were just kind of floating there. DIY number 3. This one is super simple. I just created a stencil with my Cricut machine, and I used some Dollar Tree contact paper here. I really didn't want to use my vinyl and waste that on creating a stencil that I was just going to throw away. So this is using a Dollar Tree rug that they have, and I'm just creating Sleigh All Day, and this is going to go out on my front porch. This was the first time I've ever created a stencil like this, and I really did not think it was going to turn out well, especially because that Dollar Tree contact paper really doesn't stick down to the surface, and it's a bit of a raised surface to begin with. So I thought it was just going to create the biggest mess, but it turned out really cute. I love this. I took my white Waverly chalk paint, and I'm just going over my stencil. I went over it, I want to say 2 times, maybe 3. I know it was at least 2 times that I went over the whole stencil with the white. And I don't think I make you guys watch this whole thing, at least I hope not. So I just lifted it up, and I was pleasantly surprised that it turned out really well, even with that cheap Dollar Tree contact paper as a stencil. So then I just added in some painter's tape, and I took my red crimson chalk paint again, and I added 2 lines at the bottom. And here's a look at how it turned out. I think this is so cute. Just a simple little Christmas doormat to have on my front porch. I love it. DIY number 4. So this one I think is the most involved and time-consuming one that I had in this project. I took this little Dollar Tree mailbox and I painted it white. I gave it, I think, like 2 coats of white paint. And I almost gave up on this project halfway through, but I'm so glad that I ended up just taking the night and finishing it. I created these words that said special delivery, check twice, and then on the reverse side it says North Pole Post, naughty and nice, and it has those little check boxes. I do love the way this turned out, but initially I was using that Cricut transfer tape, and again it just ripped off all of my paint. It ripped it off down to the box, itself, like the original box, and I was very frustrated and upset. So I went to sleep, came back to it the next day, and I redid it. And it looks great. I love how this turned out. So then I just took some washi tape and put it around the entire mailbox. And I added in some red ticking stripes. I added 2 around, all the way around, and then 2 on each side at the bottom. I also added in little red check marks next to nice, and then on the checked twice. I don't think I showed that though. So last I just took another piece of scrap wood that I had, and I took this deco mesh ribbon core that the ribbon came on. This ribbon core came from the deco mesh I used in my light up Christmas box present in my last video. I'll put a link to it in the cards if you haven't seen that already. And I painted those red, and I'm just gonna hot glue everything together. The hot glue turned out fine. It worked out well. I didn't need to add E6000 or anything like that. This is also purely a decorative piece and not going to be functional and being played around with. I also don't think I show it, but I added some white ribbon going up the post just to give it a little something extra like you would find at the North Pole. My mom helped me on that decision. There was no way of getting that in the frame, but this turned out so cute. I love the little scene that I had created with these, the candy cane lane, and then those little like Santa Claus letters that I found at the Dollar Tree. This just looks so cute. And last but not least, DIY number 5. This one is, again, super simple. I took this shadow box that I found at the Dollar Tree, and I just popped the back right off. I took some scrapbook paper that I got from Hobby Lobby. It's like a black shiplap, and I just cut this down to size, and I also painted around the edges of the backing from that shadow box, just in case anything were to peek through. I did not use my Cricut for this project, but I still wanted to show it as inspiration on how you can still get that look. And then I just hot glued this little scrapbook piece into place. Next, I took these gold transfer letters that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I cut out Winter Wonderland and added those on. Now I'm taking these little Christmas trees. They're for the like Christmas villages from the Dollar Tree, and I cut down the backs of them just a little bit so they would lay flat against my sign, and I just hot glued those down in place. The last thing I did was add in this iridescent faux snow, and then I just popped the backing back on, and this is it. Super easy, super simple. I love the way this turned out. And I'm sorry if you can hear my son in the background. He was waiting so impatiently for me to be done with the laptop. But this turned out so cute, and that is it for this video, guys. Let me know what's your favorite down in the comments. See you next time.
Bruh.